with allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Becky, have a roll. Everybody here, everybody quorum. Item C, adoption of the agenda. I believe we have 3 additional hirings on there.
Correct.
Is that it, Mr. George?
Yes, Dale Jansma, Sheila Maxwell, and Allison Van Hartson for our after-school program teachers. So if you're okay with that, we'll add those as 3, 4, and 5 in 11B.
Motion to approve the agenda, along with those changes. We're ready.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second to adopt the agenda with the 3 additional hirings as listed. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to item D, public input on non-agenda items. Anybody signed up? Anybody here to speak? Doesn't look like it. Okay, we will move on to item E, approval of minutes of past meetings. After you've looked at those, entertain a motion to approve those when you're ready.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the minutes of the past meetings. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item F, approval of financial items. Jackie?
On the school business official report, we received guidance that this year we had some reallocated dollars in the title programs. So I have those listed for you, and I've just asked that I update the board on that as proof of obligation for DE purposes, and that those funds need to be expended by December 30th. The district will expend those funds without issue, $8,800 in Title 1A, which we use for the salaries and benefits of 2.5 FTE title instructors. Title 2A, around $1,200 for use for salary benefits of 1 elementary instructor, and Title 4A, around $1,300 to be used for supplies related to our PBIS program. And then the additional allocation will be used for our CAPS program and the expenses there. So it just needs to be noted, no action is needed in that. And that is done through quarterly reporting to the DE. I have not heard from KRP since their fieldwork in mid-September on either the fiscal 22 audit completion or anything that is needed to continue with the fiscal 23 audit. I sent an email on October 13th that's gone unanswered, so keep bugging them as much as I can, but also want to give them the grace that they need to keep working on it. So the state keeps checking in, I keep checking in, just keep going from there. Under the financial reports, in the special revenue fund board report, you can see that before you there, management, physical plant and equipment levy, playground, save, and debt service. I don't have anything specific to report this month, pretty standard reporting as far as bills going in and out. As you can see, the save balance and the PEPAL balance together, which are kind of what we'll use to going forward for any of our projects. A little bit of Pearl, obviously, for our playground and that kind of thing, but otherwise, $778,000. I get around between $70,000 to $85,000 each month in save dollars. Just kind of depends on what the state, what those revenues are and what they send to me. Going back to, we'll go over to the activities report. In activity fund, hot lunch, student construction, FFA farm, and split fund. You can see those balances before you there. Student construction, a couple more expenses this month, otherwise nothing much has changed there. I believe that the buyer is paying most of that out of pocket. We'll have a few things that we can help them out with, so you'll see a few expenses as we go along. And then the split fund, if you remember at the end of the year, we were close to $1 million in the split fund. So that's gone down to around 740,000 because we've paid to start the HSA accounts for the employees that chose to go to that program. So you can see those balances have gone down just a little bit, which is what we expected. And then the annual treasurer's report, nothing much to report there. We're just beginning our new fiscal year. So and the expenditures have started in September for salaries, benefits, and all of that. The benefits are actually at a negative, and that's because I had to reallocate some dollars from one month to another to compensate for that HSA contribution. It came out in 1 month, and then I put it back in the next month from the split fund. So that's why it's at a negative for the month, because we had a big surplus that came back in to reimburse the general fund through payroll. So that's all I have to report, other than moving into the summary list of bills. I did add another little list of bills this afternoon in the additional. So I'll give you a moment to review some of those. And if you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Just out of curiosity, what are the AP exam reimbursements? So we reimburse them if they take.
Correct. So if a student takes an AP exam or an AP class and scores a 3 or higher, it's kind of been our standard to reimburse them for that cost. So 25 took the exam and I reimbursed, I think, 16.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jackie? So I'll entertain a motion to approve those items plus the additional list of bills. Jackie, when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the summary list.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and second to approve the financial items as listed, plus the additional list of bills. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Moving on to item G, administrative reports, discussion items. Item 1, recognition, congratulations, students, staff, and community. Mr. Dorr.
Host of students and organizations to recognize this month. As you can see there, Mrs. Langholt wants to publicly recognize our all-state band and choir auditioners. You can see we've got 2 students auditioning for the band and 9 students for the choir. They'll do that this Saturday, so we wish them the best of luck. Next week, we've got Aladdin Junior opening on Thursday, and then it should say Saturday, not Friday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully we're playing football again next Friday night. So 2 7:30 performances and a 2 o'clock performance for Aladdin. And then our fall sports, they've concluded their regular seasons and they're all heading off to the postseason. So we want to congratulate the cross-country team. Both the boys and the girls finished second at the War Eagle Conference meet. We want to give special recognition to Mary Schriever. She was the conference champion in the girls division. By 23 seconds, she was ahead of the runner-up. So congratulations to Mary. You can see all the other ladies that finished, and their places counted towards that team total. Would recognize that they also won the West Lyon meet earlier in the season. So congratulations to the girls. And then the boys, you can see the 5 individuals that contributed to that second place finish there. They'll run Thursday in 2 days at Landsmere in Orange City for the state qualifying meet. So wish both the boys and the girls the best of luck. Football team, as we were kind of talking about before, they finished the regular season undefeated or district champions, and they'll host Okoboji this Friday, but you can see the junior varsity and JVR both had great seasons as well. They finished just last night. So congratulations to them. And then the volleyball team finished with a 14-12 record overall, 5-4 in the conference, and they'll host Akron Westfield tomorrow night here. So we wish them the best of luck and also congratulate the JV and JVR on their seasons. Staff congratulations. We want to give a shout out to Jeff Jager and Dan Snyder for all their work kind of preparing the football field throughout the course of the entire season. A lot of time and put into making the field look great. And then our community recognition, Mr. Harmon submitted this. Want to recognize the fire department and the Lyon County EMS for their presentations last week for Fire Safety Week. So great presentations for the kids in the elementary. And then we want to thank Todd Deeren, Eric Carter, and Bob Weiland for their help installing the new Dipnell Field sign and the state championship sign in the south end zone at the football field. Special thanks to the quarterback club for funding that. And those three guys, along with Curtis Eben and Steve Bresky, for getting that up. So, anybody else you guys would like to recognize or congratulate?
Very good. Thank you, Mr. On to item 2, principal reports. Mr. Roman, you're up first.
I'd like to report this to promote it for next week. Next week we have a very big week with our book fair and lunch week. A lot of parents and family members come into that. I figure about 50 to 60 kids in the class and 2 to 3 people. That adds to our lunchroom greatly. So kind of set that up with a separate time. They come in beforehand for the rest of the kids. And we highlight a grade every single day, Monday through Friday, and then those kids get a little extra recess and then celebrate that as their parents come in and celebrate what's in the hot lunch program, and then also our book fair that has some library. So I'll give you a report next week of next month, how many numbers we have there, and it's a great process for our kids and for our family to support our library too. So yeah, exciting times. Keeps the week flying by, but yeah, good thing.
Mr. Harmon? Mr. Harmon?
Yeah, I just had some program updates for the secondary building. One being the end of the first quarter here is Thursday, so hard to believe we're already a quarter of the way done with our school year. That's coming up quickly here on Thursday. So grade 7 through 12, that'll be the culmination of the first quarter. FFA fruit sales, as I've taken a little bit more of a role with the FFA, I just wanted to announce here publicly that the FFA fruit sales are still up and going. Kids should be out there knocking on doors and trying to get some sales done. That's going to end on Wednesday, November 8th, with deliveries being made in December. So a lot of coordination with that event, and again, a thanks to the friends of the FFA and all those that are involved, all the partnerships we have in the community as well, especially with Sunshine Foods and everyone else who's helping with that endeavor. National Honor Society applications are out. We, as a district, 11th and 12th graders who are eligible academically can apply for the National Honor Society. That's done in the fall, with an induction ceremony later in November. So we're looking at November 19th for our induction ceremony. Questions about NHS? Give me a buzz. The fall musical, Mr. George already hinted at. 3 different show times and a matinee on Friday for our students in grades 2 through 8. So kind of a nice recruiting tool. It's also a fun activity that our kids can see our upperclassmen and some of those senior mentors and mentors and leaders up there on stage. So looking forward to that. And then parent-teacher conferences are right around the corner, so just wanted to announce that there's going to be some information going home later this week about parent-teacher conferences. High school is going to still be the same format, come to the gym, meet with all of the child's educators, instructors, and so forth. And the middle school is going to be hard scheduled yet, because that's just we still value attendance and trying to get everybody in the building to hear about how their child is doing. So again, that information should be coming out at the end of the week.
Thanks, Mr. Questions for the principals? Okay, move on to superintendent reports. Mr. Jorth?
Yes, I'm just kind of update everybody on our timeline in regards to our facility projects. Tonight, you have for your consideration the plans and specifications for the bus barn and the middle school bridge. If approved, we'll release those tomorrow. We'll get everything posted on the website and in the newspapers. And then we will receive bids on the 16th with a report back to the board and our new members in November. So we won't take official action on that until December 13th, just to make sure everybody that's new to the board has an opportunity to brush up on those and ask any questions that they might have. And then our hope is they come within budget and we're able to move forward, and you can see we're planning to start that construction process as soon as the snow melts in the spring. So just kind of wanted to update everybody on that. Also, certified enrollment was due on Monday. We are down just under 6 students. Last year we were at 765, this year 759. And really that's a factor of a larger graduating class than the incoming kindergartners this year. So 6 fewer kids in that kindergarten class than what we had graduated. Now, kind of digging a little bit deeper into that certified enrollment, I put some notes there. We've closed the gap on our open enrollment in and out. So we have 3 more open enrollment in students this year than we did a year ago, compared to those students leaving the district. And then the legislature changed some of the factors when it comes to ELL. So you can see we've gained an additional 1.77 students in funding for our ELL program. So when you put those two things together, grand scheme of things, we're down about 1 student compared to where we were for state funding last year. So something that we're going to have to continue to monitor, because our largest classes right now are in the 7th through 12th grade building, and we average over 60 students. And, you know, if we continue to have smaller kindergarten classes, we're just going to have that natural decline with outgoing larger classes, smaller incoming classes. So just something to be aware of, and something that we'll continue to talk about as we budget for next school year.
Did those classes, like the upper grades, did they start out in elementary, they were already big, or did they get, it wasn't like open enrollments in the last few years?
Correct. So
Okay.
the open enrollments have really been throughout the system.
Sure.
There's been a little bit of increase.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like on the 10-year, like we've gotten a lot more open enrolled in the last 10 years, it looks like, but I don't know if those grades were always that big.
Right, yeah, no, they have been,
They've always been that big.
we had 3 sections of, I can't remember what grade it would be now.
2020 was the first year that we went back to 3 sections from 2. And all with the exception of 1 class. maybe
Correct.
We're at
Yeah.
3 sections, 12 classes.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'll continue to kind of monitor that and track that. And I know that's why we kind of pushed our preschool and kindergarten conversations earlier in the winter, so that we can project that better and make our staffing decisions as needed.
Okay, new board committees, new reports there.
Went to the foundation meeting last Tuesday, but there's really nothing new. They're working on the fall fundraiser and the state funds that they have. Working to use that money.
Jackie and I met on last Friday, and I signed the warranty deed for the property transfer for the bus barn property of the development corporation. So is that about finished up with that process?
Yep, Micah was gonna get that recorded, and that should be official, so we can get FEH an address for the bus barn.
Any other questions from Mr. Jordan? Okay, move on to item H, old business. Both of those tabled items, nothing new to report there, no action required, so we will move on to item I, new business. Item 1, consider approval of plans and specifications for the bus barn and middle school bridge. Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, Patrick's here to answer any questions that the board may have. Carrie, Scott, and I met with the crew from FEH at the beginning of October, kind of finalized those plans. The drawings really are unchanged from that meeting, just a couple changes to the site as far as the height to grade. We're gonna be moved up 6 inches just to try to help with kind of drainage and just the site itself. But as far as the specifications, not much change there. Anything to add, Scott or Carrie? Patrick, anything that you want to note?
No, everybody's aware it's a project and we looked at it a couple weeks ago. So
We added a couple heaters so that it all stays above freezing and
Yep.
things like that.
Do we have them? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just really minor little changes.
Tweaks and changes. Yep.
Do you have an estimate yet for bid package A and B?
So the estimate we're going on for the bus barn, we have 1.7 million. And as far as the pedestrian bridge, just tell you that the last time that it was bid, this amount was 306,000.
So combined, right around that $2 million.
Questions, comments? So I'll entertain a motion to approve those plans and specs when you're in.
So move.
A motion second to approve the plans and specs for the new bus barn and middle school bridge. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, consider bid date for the,
Receiving the bid.
for receiving the bids for the previously mentioned project, I guess, for 11 a.m. Thursday, November 16th. Guess there's not much discussion on that one, right?
No, I just pulled out the couple pages there as an attachment so you can kind of see what we'll publish on the website. Will be released to anybody that's interested. Put it in the newspaper, etc. So,
We do not need any board members to attend that. That is, come if you want, we just can't have a quorum.
correct.
Correct. Yep. Need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
I have a motion and second to approve the bid time and date for 11 a.m. Thursday, November 16th at our boardroom here at Central Line. Subject project, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. It's a public hearing for the proposed projects, 4:55, Wednesday, December 13th.
I just note that, that's it, Wednesday night. We typically meet on Mondays, but just because I think we've got a concert that night, in conversation, the 13th at 5 o'clock, new kind of earlier time frame as well. But this way we'll, again, publish in the paper, on the website, and to any of our bidders as well.
Do need to have a form for that.
Yes, sir.
So does that work for you three? Okay, very good. Entertain a motion to approve that. So moved.
Second?
A motion second to approve the public hearing for the subject projects at 4:55 p.m. Wednesday, December 13th at the boardroom here at Central Line. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Item 4, consider allowable growth and supplemental aid for 22-23 special education deficit, the amount of $217,598.20.
It's significantly larger than it's been the last couple of years. We did have 2 students that were educated out of state in a placement facility with transportation, driver wages, and their therapies and education and other things at those facilities. So that did increase our deficit. So submit that to the state, they'll review it and they'll let us know if they disagree with anything. But in that overspend, we have the right and the ability to ask for allowable growth. So it gives us the spending authority back. It won't give us those expenses back, but it gives us that spending authority back, which we budget off of. So I would recommend that you approve that, and I'll submit that to the state. And just for clarification, I think one student was around $110,000, and the other student was over $89,000. So that adds significant balances to your expenses, and I can apply for
High cost claim.
high cost claim. I think I was drawing a blank. High cost claim, and I maybe get $35,000 back. So it's just not something that they reimburse that easily. So.
Were those items just educational expenses? You said, mentioned traveling to Sioux Falls, I think. So the tuition and things like that related to those two students and transportation, et cetera.
Correct.
That's what it was.
There's occupational therapy involved in that, there's some speech therapies involved in that, but all true educational expenses are, yeah, that's all part of that $110,000 and $80,000.
Do you foresee those two students continuing?
One has exited that program, as far as I know, and the other, as far as for graduation even, another student is back in our district as of
Start of the year.
start of the year. Okay. So those expenses will be gone. So our dollar amount next year should be significantly different. But I always say, wait and see.
Right, yep.
Just need a regular motion for both
Yes,
these next
just
two.
regular motion. Mhm.
Okay. Entertain that motion to approve when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve the allowable growth as listed.
I'll second.
You have a motion second to approve the allowable growth and supplemental aid as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5, consider allowable growth and supplemental aid for 22-23 limited English proficiency costs, amount of $25,081.54.
So you can see the application before you, and we qualified for 79,000. I can't read my own thing because it's so small. $744, but because of a coding error with Sam Cruz's salary, I had everything coded for him to ELL, and he was not an ELL teacher the entire year. So I backed some of that out, so we actually qualify for the dollar amount there listed, the $25,081. And again, it's just basically saying those are expenses above our allocation, and we can ask for allowable growth back on that. So,
No questions? I'll entertain a motion when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the allowable growth for the limited English proficiency.
Second?
A motion second to approve the allowable growth and supplemental aid for the English proficiency in the amount listed. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, consider used vehicle purchase for $16,625. That is a 2014 Ford F-150.
Yes, so a couple months ago, Steve Bresky's maintenance truck that he drove, transmission failed. And so we've been on the hunt for a used truck to replace that. So Lane was able to work with Papick Motors and find this 2014 F-150 for $16,625. And then if you're okay, the next one, the kind of our rotation or recommendation from Lane is to add a Chevy Suburban. So this is an estimated cost because we don't know exactly what the rebates will be once its factory is built. And then we do get some state breaks for being a public entity. So kind of the estimated total is $64,000. Once we know the final total, we'll give you guys an update on that.
So will the rebates come off of this yet, or this is?
That's what they're kind of estimating that it'll be
After.
around there. Yep. And this is the LS version. I kind of put that in the details. It's kind of the basic package. Cloth interior, doesn't have like the stereo features or the automatic liftgate, really just a base model.
which is what we have always done.
And will this replace one of the current ones, or this is in addition to?
This is in addition to, our two Traverses that we have right now, they are accumulating miles and had some maintenance, so this is kind of in preparation for one of those vehicles maybe being rotated off of the frequently used.
What's the lead time on that Suburban?
They're down to 3 to 4 months, where this time a year ago it was a year. So we're anxiously.
Assuming the strike gets done sooner than later.
Exactly.
So both items 6 and 7, questions on those, otherwise I think we can. The motion when you're ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 vehicle purchases as listed.
Motion and second to approve the purchase of the 2 vehicles as listed under items 6 and 7. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to item 8, consideration of early graduation.
You can see the students' requests for early graduation from Maggie Buss, Jonathan Haspels, and Alexis Meyer. We make those initially to Mrs. Harmon, and then Mr. Engelman reviews those, and then ultimately the board has to approve them. So, if you have any questions, Mr. Engelman or I can take them. But otherwise, these 3 students are just kind of looking to get started with their adult lives, whether starting school early or entering the workforce.
No questions on those? In motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve those early graduation requests.
I'll second.
A motion and second to approve the early graduation requests for the individual assistant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 9, consider out-of-state field trip requests.
Yes, so Mr. Allen is, again, requesting the NASA field trip to Houston. Right now, the big question is transportation. The charter bus company that we've used in the past has traditionally just driven straight through the night. They've had multiple drivers to be able to do so, but that charter company that we've used and all the others that the AEA has contacted, that no longer do they drive through the night and provide multiple drivers like that. And so I know the AEA is exploring their options there. Mr. Allen's pushing for a chartered flight from Sioux Falls to Houston. So we'll see ultimately what comes of that. But you guys approved the out-of-state field trip. We'll kind of report back on ultimately what the cost would be to the kids and how much we would be contributing towards each one of those.
Any motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve that out-of-state field trip request.
Second?
A motion and second to approve the out-of-state field trip request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 10, consider first reading of revised and new policies. Now, Mr. Jordan, these are kind of policies that housekeeping, right? There's a bunch more that'll come from the new board in December, January.
Correct. So a lot of these that are submitted to you tonight are in connection to legislative changes that came about out of the last session. And so School Board Association has provided the sample policies, and really these are pretty boilerplate. Except for maybe some of the medication updates in the 507 and 804. But some of the other policies that have a little bit more significant changes to our current policy will allow the new board to review those and provide their input going forward. The one that I would maybe point out, and I didn't bullet it here in the quick summary, but it's listed down below, is 40706, the early retirement incentive, recommending that we place back criteria B, that you must meet the rule of 88, in addition to being 55 years of age or older, so that really it's in that year that you do meet the IPERS qualification. So, as you know, it's becoming more and more challenging to find highly qualified teachers. And so, not saying that we won't open this back up in the future, but at least for this year, it's our recommendation to put that rule of 88 requirement back in there.
So is your intent to be that that's the only year they're eligible, is the year in which they meet the rule of 88?
Correct.
Sure, with the wording in there, that was
Yep.
said, make sure that people understand
Yep.
it.
So after that point, they're not eligible, you're saying?
Correct. And so like last year, if you remember, we removed that criteria, and so we have multiple people that apply and receive that incentive, the $30,000 incentive for early retirement. So that's kind of been we haven't offered it every year that I've been here. It's kind of based upon the recommendation of the Finance Committee, Personnel Committee, and whether or not we felt like we could find suitable replacements for those positions.
Fortunately, to this point at least, we have been able to go in this, and this has certainly helped from a overall budget perspective. You get those higher dollars off the payroll. Typically, we're able to find and hire teachers earlier in their careers to replace the lower salaries. So it has been a financial help certainly to the budget.
You know, in my conversations with other area superintendents, you know, a lot of these early retirement incentives are they're not being offered anymore because it's become more and more challenging to find teachers.
Do you think we need to somehow reword that so it is very clear that it's just in that year? Or,
Again, the policy has been written like this, and the only
Okay.
change we historically have made is take out
taking that line up, okay.
criteria B
That's good.
or add it back in.
Okay.
So the paperwork, and I think our staff is very familiar with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think our staff is
Sounds good.
fully aware.
So I entertain a motion to approve those first reading. Ready?
Motion to approve the first readings of those policies.
Okay, we have a motion second to approve the first reading of the policies as listed. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
So Brent, is your intent then to bring that back as old business for next month?
Yep, so the outgoing board will approve the second reading. Yep.
Sorry, one more time. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sorry, Andy.
No worries. We on to item 11, personnel. We can take the resignations and hirings.
Yep, you can see Ms. Fitch's resignation submitted for your review. Hirings, Jerry Koletsky as a second middle school girls wrestling coach, increased numbers from year 1 to year 2, warrant that additional coach. If you remember, Jeff Kruger's at George. So kind of nice, we've got one coach in both buildings. Sutton Schlumbum as a volunteer assistant girls basketball coach. And then the 3 teachers that we amended the agenda for, Dale Jansma, Sheila Maxwell, and Allison Van Artsen for after-school program. That, correct me if I'm wrong, starts typically after parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, we get some of our high flyers, we get going, try to contact those parents before, but conferences are a big contact, and we start right after that. We went to the end of April.
Questions on those?
I have a question, kind of related. Can you explain like what's like our hard and fast rule about when we get like a volunteer assistant for something and when it's an additional coach? Like,
So like,
is it always a numbers game and it just depends on the sport? And
yeah, so typically, like when we added the volleyball coach, we were over 40 participants in the volleyball program. Historically, we've been in the 30s, and that's kind of,
Okay.
Coach Grafian had her meeting earlier last week. She's kind of still in that 30s range for participants.
so then like if numbers drop, then what do we do with the 4th coach? Is that
So then
like, they
the,
just stay on or that's something we look at?
yep, so it's something that we can look at year to year. Coaching contracts are an annual
Okay.
awarding, so if we feel like the numbers don't support that additional coach, then that contract can be rescinded.
Okay. I was just making sure, since sometimes we have volunteers and sometimes that's an additional coach hired, so I didn't know.
Yep.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve those when you're ready.
I'll approve the hirings and the resignation as listed.
We have a motion second to approve the resignation and hirings as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item J, announcements/dates to remember.
We've talked about many of these already with the postseason activities started, musical. I would note that we're going to host our home robotics meet on November 4th. That's a Saturday morning. Anybody's interested in volunteering to help Mr. Allen, he's always looking for folks to help with that event. And then a couple concerts, we kind of enter our fall concert series. Starts with the marching band concert on the 7th, and then the middle school band and choir concert on the 14th.
We'll move on to item K. Bill review.
Well, apologize in advance, there's a lot.
And after that, we'll go into closed session.
Thank you, Becky.
This mid-year review and
You get the fun one and
the fun one last 2 months ago.
A couple months ago, yeah.
I try to throw it
Get on
around.
me. What's your last one we have to do this year?
Yeah.
First board meeting is what date?
The 20th.
Okay. Oh, there it is, sorry. It's on my,
After the vote, so
yeah,
a little bit later than normal.
okay.